Hi everybody, my name is Valerie Twombly and I write erotic paranormal romance, and I'm here today because some of my fans have sent me several questions and asked me if I would do a Q&A for them. So here we are, and I have my list here. So I'm going to start right off with the first question, which is from Lisa, and she says, what ideas do you have for future stories? I'm so glad that question was asked. Currently, I am working on a brand new series. The first book is called Taken by Desire, and this is a demon-based series. So I've decided to name the series Demonic Desires. I'm hoping to plan at least 7 books in this series, but you know how things go. It could be more, it could be less. But I do hope to have this first book out by April, if not a little sooner, but I think that might be pushing me a little bit. So hopefully by April, definitely no later than early part of May. So I think you guys will be excited about that. I know I am. So second question also comes from Lisa. After Seth, who will be next on your list? Yay! Next on the list is going to be everybody's favorite sexy demon, Bale. He is scheduled to have a novella for July, so if I can push that up a little bit, I'll try, but my schedule is pretty tight this year. So I think everybody's looking forward to his story, and let's see if the female can bring him to his knees. Third question comes from Sherry, and she asks, have you ever woken up in the middle of the night with a plot twist and scrambled to write it down? No. I like my sleep. I have had plot twists come to me, usually at strange times, like while I'm driving. That seems to be a big one for me. So normally I scramble when I get to work, because that's happens on my commute to work, to hurry up and record it on my phone or something so I don't forget. But never in the middle of the night have I had one come up. So that's a good question though. The next question comes from Kim. It says, how long does it take you to do research? It depends. A lot of my stories really come from my own imagination, so I don't do a huge amount of research on those. I do a little bit here and there. So less than half the time to write a book do I spend in doing research. I sometimes like to do photos. I go to Pinterest, and as some of you know, I have boards going for my books, so I like to do photos. I'm a visual person, so the photos really help me to see the things in my head a little clearer, so I can hopefully get them onto paper so that you guys can see them too. Okay, next question comes from Rebecca, and she asks, what inspires your writing? Oh, lots of things can inspire me. It can be a simple photo that I might see while I'm doing Pinterest. Something crazy like that. It can sometimes spawn a new character, or sometimes can, you know, start a whole new story for me. Sometimes it can be something on TV, a song, just my crazy brain. Things come from everywhere, so you never know where the next story is going to come from. Okay, the next question comes from Leah, and she asks, what made you decide to write the genre that you do? Which in my case is paranormal romance. There was never any question on what genre I would write. I read paranormal romance. I have always been in love with vampires, books, movies. So when I first discovered the genre paranormal romance and started reading, The first book I actually picked up was Laura Adrian, the Midnight Breed series, and I was like, where has this stuff been? How did I not know this existed? And I just inhaled everything I could get my hands on. So it was just a given that that would be the genre I would write in. It's what I read, it's what I love, it's what I know. I really can't see myself doing anything different, but you never know. Things change in the future, so I might dip my toe into something else at some point in time, but right now I'm quite happy where I'm at. So, all right. And the next question comes from Amy. And she asks, do you hear your characters sort of like them talking to you and telling you their story? Yeah, a lot of times I do. As a classic example, when I was writing Eternal Flame, which is the first book in the Guardian series, I had a whole other vision for book 2, which was actually supposed to be Seth's story. About halfway through, on my way to work, when my ideas hit me, that's when Caleb pretty much told me that no, he was going to be book 2, and he kind of told me what he had planned. So I had to go back and actually rewrite a little bit of Eternal Flame to reflect that book 2 was going to be him instead of Seth. So yeah, they sometimes they do talk to me, and we argue a little, and they always win because they're always right. So that's how that happened. And Seth, he got pushed back, and as you know, he became book 3. So you never know what's going to happen. The next question comes from Justin, and she asks, how important is it and why that people write reviews on your books? What are the benefits to you and your readers? That's a really good question. It is important. I don't get a chance to see every review, but I do try to look at them. It's important whether it's a good review or bad review, what the fans' opinions are, what they liked, what they didn't like. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to change my writing or my stories based on a review. But it does give a good insight into, what people like. And unfortunately, Amazon, people I think do really like to see those reviews. When you're purchasing a book, me personally, I don't really look at them when I'm buying a book, especially if I know an author. Obviously, I'm not going to look at the reviews because I already know their work. But I think with an author that you don't know, you are going to tend to, look over the reviews and kind of get a feeling if this is something that you're going to want to spend your money on. So I think they're very important to fans when they're making that decision to purchase a book. So I think, yeah, there's good benefits to that. Good question. Okay, we have only a couple more here. And the next one is also by Justin, and she asks, if a producer offered to make a movie from one of your books, which one would you choose and why? Well, I'd have to say I would actually choose the Guardian series because I think being a series, that would be a good one. It would be really cool to see how they would put a combination of vampires and shape-shifting dragons in there and, make it all real. But to be honest, I think our guardians, the men in the series are pretty hot, so it would be fun to see them depicted on screen, and who would they pick to play those characters. And oh, that would actually be really difficult because I don't know. I have a vision in my head of what they look like and how they act, and it could be disappointing too if it didn't come out quite the way I saw it. But that would be my pick. Okay, and the next one I have is also from Justin. Yay, Justin! What is your writing plan, and where do you want to be 10 years from now? Let's see. My writing plan for immediate future, for 2015, I have, let's see, I'm actually looking up at my list that I keep on my bulletin board right above me here. I have a list of stories that I would like to get out this year. Those would include, as I said earlier, the one I'm working on, which is the Taken by Desire. I would also need to do Val's story, and the second book in our Jinn series, which would be Crone's story. That one has a title called Sultry Nights. I want to get that out this year as well. So I'm hoping to do at least 4 stories this year. And I think that's a good number to kind of try to do every year. So I guess my goals would be to try to at least put out 4 books a year. My Yes, 10 years. My 10-year goal. I'd like to be able to retire and do this full time. That would be the absolute best. Excuse me. It is hard to have to work a 40-hour work week and then come home and you have things at home that need to be done. Husband needs attention, bills need to be paid, house needs to be cleaned. So I'm only left with actually a few hours in the evenings to do anything. And then, I do have to do social media. I like to, meet with my fans on Facebook. So that takes a lot of time. So scheduling and writing time here and there whenever I can get it can be hard. And sometimes I fall behind my goals. So it would be really nice to be able to stay home and do this full time and actually be able to pay my mortgage at the same time. So that would be my long-term goals, would be able to produce enough work that I could stay home. And if that doesn't happen, then my secondary goal is to at least have a nice supplement income when I retire. So that would be fun. And the last question I have here is not from anyone in particular. This gets asked me a lot though, so I thought I would toss it on here. And people often ask me, how do I write sex scenes? It was really hard at first. I remember the first one I had to write. I think I actually blushed the whole time I was writing it. But after a while, you just get used to doing it. Sometimes I put on music that kind of, gets you in that sexual mood and helps you kind of roll through it. Some scenes are easier than others. Sometimes the scene will come together, the first try. Other times it seems like it takes forever to write that scene. You're thinking these people are spending, 20 hot minutes in the bedroom or whatever, and it's taken you, 2 hours to put it together. It just depends on how the day is going and what the scene is and then the couple you're working with. So I really don't know how to answer that any better than that. So there you go. I'm so glad that you guys asked me these questions and that I got a chance to do this. I think it'll be kind of cool for people to see this. And so keep the questions coming. If you have something that I didn't answer, you can, always shoot over to my website, which is going to be on here at the end. And you can, fill out the little form, or if you can reach me on Facebook and ask me the question. And I will try to put together another list, and maybe we'll do this again sometime. So thanks for hanging out with me. Have a great day.